In a world filled with noise where everyone is quick to respond, quick to react, and quick to broadcast their every thought, choosing to hold back, choosing silence can be a profound demonstration of strength. There's an old saying, speak only if it improves upon the silence. Imagine the power that comes from resisting the urge to fill every moment with words. The power of restraint, the choice to remain silent when everyone expects a reaction, is something few understand but many notice. When you choose restraint, you take control of the situation. People often think that the loudest voice in the room is the strongest, but true strength lies in the one who doesn't need to prove it. Silence can confuse those who want to provoke you, unsettle those who want to argue, and disarm those who seek to diminish you. It's a form of power that doesn't rely on volume or aggression, but instead on calm confidence and inner peace. By holding back, you let others see that you're not swayed by every opinion or circumstance. You become the still, grounded presence in the midst of chaos. Think about how this applies to conflict. Imagine a disagreement. Perhaps someone has criticized you or spoken poorly about you. Our first instinct might be to defend ourselves, to retaliate, to justify. But what if instead you chose not to respond at all? What if you refused to feed the negativity with more negativity? Suddenly you shift the dynamic. The person on the other end may grow frustrated, realizing they don't have the power to provoke you. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their own behavior back to them. And as they're left to wrestle with that, you can move forward without carrying the weight of unnecessary conflict. Silence isn't about weakness, it's about self-control. We live in a world where people are constantly seeking validation, where every statement is followed by a need for agreement, praise, or acknowledgement. But when you show restraint, you show that you're not looking for validation in the opinions of others. You're not a product of their praise or their criticism. You're grounded in who you are, regardless of what's said about you. This kind of restraint requires humility and a strong sense of self-worth. It says, I know my value and I don't need to justify it. In relationships, the power of restraint can also bring harmony and understanding. There are times when words can complicate things, especially when emotions are high. Instead of reacting out of anger or frustration, choosing silence allows us to reflect and gain perspective. It gives us the space to process what we're feeling without saying something we may later regret. And often, after taking that step back, we realize that not every battle is worth fighting. Not every comment needs a response. Sometimes silence allows the other person to understand the impact of their words more than any response ever could. Restraint, then, is not only a source of strength, but also a way to keep our focus on what truly matters. When you're not consumed by the need to react, you can focus on your goals, your vision, and your peace. People around you might wonder why you don't always respond, why you choose to remain calm when others would react. They may even be confused or challenged by your silence. But that's the power of restraint. It's a quiet strength, a controlled presence that commands respect without a single word. By mastering the art of silence, you communicate a message louder than any argument could. You tell the world that you're driven by purpose, not by the passing storms of opinion. You show that you're grounded in your values and that you refuse to be drawn into battles that don't serve you. Restraint lets you rise above, leaving those who try to disturb your peace puzzled and those who truly see your strength inspire. In a world where everyone is vying for attention, sometimes the most powerful message you can send is silence. Restraint is power. Silence is strength. And true confidence often speaks the loudest when it says nothing at all. There's a profound strength in silence that many overlook. While society often equates strength with boldness, assertiveness, and the willingness to speak up, real strength sometimes comes in knowing when not to speak, when to keep your peace, and when to let silence carry your message. Silence is a quiet yet powerful form of strength, a strength that doesn't demand to be seen or heard but exists nonetheless. It's a reflection of confidence, self-assuredness, and resilience, a strength that doesn't depend on others' reactions or approval. Imagine a scenario where someone questions you, doubts you, or even tries to challenge your character. Our natural inclination may be to defend ourselves, to explain, to prove our point. Yet what happens when instead of defending, we remain silent? That silence, that choice not to respond, speaks volumes. It's a message that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to justify it to anyone's silence. Allows us to stand firm in our sense of self without letting others' opinions sway us. It's not about avoiding confrontation, but about choosing a response that reflects a deeper wisdom and understanding of ourselves. Silence is also a reflection of patience. It takes patience to wait, to hold back, to let things unfold on their own without jumping in. This patience is not passive, it's active and intentional. It's a deliberate choice to trust that time will reveal what words cannot. Think of the people in history who have made a mark not by the number of words they said, but by the weight of their presence and actions. When we choose silence, we align ourselves with a kind of strength that's rooted in patience and grounded in a deep inner peace. This type of strength is rare in today's world because it doesn't seek immediate satisfaction. It's not reactive, it's reflective. Silence also protects us. When we choose not to react impulsively, we shield ourselves from the drama and distractions that often come with hasty responses. In moments of silence, we have the opportunity to reflect, to gain perspective, and to avoid saying things we might regret. Silence becomes a filter, a protective layer that keeps our peace intact, even when the world around us is chaotic. This doesn't mean we are weak or that we're avoiding challenges. On the contrary, silence in the face of conflict can be a way to rise above it, to show that we are unbothered by the noise, untouched by the negativity. In relationships, silence can be one of the most effective ways to show strength and maturity. In arguments or heated discussions, the one who chooses silence often appears as the wiser, more controlled individual. Silence gives us time to listen, to understand, and to see the bigger picture. Sometimes in those quiet moments, we realize that certain things are not worth the energy of a response. Silence allows us to preserve our dignity and to keep our interactions respectful, even when emotions run high. It's a way to say, I'm choosing peace over pride, calm over chaos. Moreover, silence can be empowering. When you no longer feel the need to defend or explain yourself, you're free from others' opinions. You're free to live according to your values and beliefs without being weighed down by what others think. This sense of freedom is empowering because it means you are no longer living for external validation. You're no longer bending to the pressures of others' expectations. Your silence becomes a testament to your independence, your self-worth, and your commitment to staying true to yourself. Silence as strength is also a powerful message to those who might seek to undermine or discourage you. By staying silent, you show them that their words don't have the power to unsettle you. They may expect a reaction, but silence denies them that satisfaction. It's a subtle but profound way of saying, your words do not define me. In silence, you reclaim your power, showing that you are in control, not swayed by anyone's opinion or provocation. Silence as strength is about knowing that your worth isn't tied to how often or how loudly you speak. It's about realizing that true confidence is quiet. It's about understanding that not every comment or criticism deserves your response, and that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to say nothing at all. In this stillness, you embody a strength that's steady, grounded, and unshakable, a strength that doesn't need to be announced but is felt by all who encounter it. By embracing silence, you choose a path of peace, self-respect, and resilience. You show the world that your inner strength isn't something that needs to be proven. It just is. Guarding your peace is one of the most powerful acts of self-care, and it's something that we often overlook. In today's world, where everyone seems to have an opinion on what we should be doing, how we should be doing, or even who we should be, maintaining our peace has become essential. Silence can be a powerful tool in this pursuit. It allows us to shield ourselves from the constant noise of others' opinions, to protect our focus, and to preserve our energy for the things that truly matter. Guarding your peace begins with recognizing its importance. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict, it's a state of mind, a way of being. When we're at peace, we're centered, grounded, and able to see things clearly. But peace is fragile. If we're not careful, it can be easily disrupted by the negativity, drama, or distractions that surround us. This is why silence is so valuable. By choosing silence, by not engaging with every comment, criticism, or provocation, we create a buffer between ourselves and the outside world. Silence becomes a sanctuary, a safe space where we can recharge and stay true to who we are. There's a tremendous freedom that comes from choosing not to respond. Imagine a moment where someone tries to drag you into their negativity, whether it's through gossip, criticism, or even outright hostility. When you respond with silence, you're not giving them any of your energy. You're refusing to let them pull you down to their level. It's like setting a boundary that says, my peace is more important than your opinion. This boundary, established through silence, allows you to stay focused on what matters rather than getting lost in unproductive battles. Guarding your peace also means being selective about where you invest your energy. We only have so much energy each day, and how we choose to spend it has a profound impact on our lives. When we're constantly reacting to everything around us, our energy gets scattered and we lose sight of what's truly important. Silence helps us conserve that energy, directing it toward things that align with our goals and values. By choosing silence, we're not avoiding life's challenges, but we're choosing to engage only with what matters, only with what serves our higher purpose. Another aspect of guarding your peace through silence is developing resilience. Silence in the face of adversity shows that you are strong enough to hold your ground without letting others' actions or words disturb you. This doesn't mean that you ignore problems, but rather that you approach them on your terms, without letting others dictate your reactions. When you don't react to every negative comment or challenge, you build an unshakable confidence. People around you may start to notice this strength. They'll see that you're not easily rattled, that you don't need to fight every battle because you have a deeper sense of self-assurance. Silence also provides us with the space to reflect, to understand what's really going on beneath the surface. Sometimes our first reaction isn't the best one. Silence gives us a chance to process our emotions, to ask ourselves why we feel the way we do, and to respond from a place of clarity and wisdom. In this way, silence helps us stay connected to our inner peace rather than reacting impulsively and possibly creating more chaos. There's a powerful example of this in nature. Think of the ocean on the surface. The waves can be wild and turbulent, but deep beneath, the water remains calm and steady. Guarding your peace is like staying connected to that deep part of yourself that remains steady no matter what's happening on the surface. Silence helps you tap into that inner calm, giving you the strength to navigate life's ups and downs without losing your sense of self. Silence also sends a message to others about the kind of energy you're willing to accept into your life. When you respond with silence, people realize that you're not someone who will be dragged into negativity or petty arguments. They'll start to respect your boundaries, knowing that you value your peace and that you're not easily influenced by external forces. Over time, you may find that people approach you with more respect, recognizing that you are someone who guards their peace fiercely. In guarding your peace, you're protecting your ability to stay focused on your path, to remain committed to your dreams, and to keep your energy directed toward what matters most. It's a commitment to yourself, a promise that you won't let others disrupt the life you're building. Silence is a tool, a gift that allows you to maintain this commitment. It's not about avoiding life, but about choosing to live life on your terms with a sense of calm, purpose, and inner strength that cannot be shaken by the noise around you. By embracing silence, you give yourself the space to grow, to heal, and to move forward with clarity. In a world that constantly demands our attention, choosing silence is an act of courage, an act of strength, and above all, an act of peace. Guarding your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. Because when you are at peace, you have the strength to be your best self for both you and those around you. In a world where everyone seems to have something to say, letting your actions speak louder than your words is a rare and powerful approach. While words can be important, actions reveal the true character and intentions behind them. When we choose to act rather than speak, we're making a statement that transcends any verbal expression. We're showing the world who we are, what we stand for, and what we're capable of achieving. Actions are the proof, the follow-through, and the foundation of integrity. Words can be empty, but actions show a commitment that others can see and respect. Choosing to let your actions speak doesn't mean you're passive or silent. It means that you value doing over saying, that you're more interested in progress than in promises. When you focus on action, you're dedicating your energy toward actual results, not just statements of intent. For example, think of someone who consistently shows up to help others in need without broadcasting it to everyone. They don't seek validation through their words. Instead, they build respect through their consistent and quiet support. Over time, their reputation speaks for itself. People come to know them as someone reliable, compassionate, and strong, all without them having to say a word. The principle of letting your actions speak is also deeply rooted in humility. When you're more focused on what you're doing than on how it's perceived, you demonstrate a form of humility that's rare and impactful. You're not out there trying to convince anyone of your worth or potential. Instead, you're dedicated to your goals, your principles, and your vision. This humility has a magnetic quality. It draws people in, earning respect in a way that talking never could. It's about letting your life be a testament to your values, allowing others to witness your commitment, your work ethic, and your resilience firsthand. Letting actions speak also communicates a powerful message about focus and determination. When you're busy working toward your goals, you don't have the time or desire to constantly explain yourself. You're less concerned with others' perceptions and more invested in the process, the journey, and the results. This level of focus not only enhances your own productivity, but also sets an example for those around you. It shows that you're serious, dedicated, and unwilling to be distracted by the noise around you. People will see that you're not swayed by trends or criticism, that you're steadfast in your purpose. In relationships, letting your actions speak can build trust and deepen connections. When we choose actions over words, we show others that we're reliable, that they can count on us not because of what we say, but because of what we say, but because of what we do. For example, imagine a friend who consistently checks in during difficult times, or a partner who shows their love through small, meaningful gestures. These actions build trust over time, creating bonds that are based on a foundation of demonstrated care and reliability. This approach is often more powerful than any spoken promise or grand declaration, because actions don't just express love or commitment, they embody it. Another benefit of letting actions speak is that it removes the need for validation or approval. When you're confident in your path and your actions, you don't need to constantly seek validation from others. You're secure in the knowledge that your actions are aligned with your values, and that's enough. This level of self-assurance is freeing. It allows you to focus fully on your goals without being pulled in different directions by the opinions or expectations of others. When you don't need to explain yourself or seek approval, you become more resilient, more focused, and more powerful in your pursuit of your goals. Letting actions speak often leads to greater impact. People are inspired by what they see, not by what they hear. Your actions can serve as a quiet but profound example to those around you. When they see you putting in the work, facing challenges, and pushing forward without needing applause, it encourages them to do the same. This kind of influence is far-reaching because it's based on authenticity and substance, not on appearance or rhetoric. Letting your actions speak is about building a legacy of integrity. Words can be forgotten or dismissed, but actions leave a lasting impression. By consistently acting in ways that reflect your values and goals, you create a legacy that others will remember long after the words are gone. Letting your actions speak is a path to credibility, respect, and trust. It's a commitment to living out your values each day, to be known for who you are and what you've done, not merely for what you've said. So choose action over words. Build a life that speaks for itself, a life that others can look to as an example. When you let your actions speak, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. It becomes evident in everything you do. There's a unique power in observation, a strength in watching, listening, and understanding before acting or reacting. In a world that often rushes to speak, where people are quick to share opinions and judgments, being someone who takes a moment to observe can set you apart. Observation gives you the advantage of clarity, allowing you to see things as they truly are rather than through the lens of assumptions or emotions. When we embrace silence and choose to observe rather than respond immediately, we gain the gift of insight, a deeper understanding of people, situations, and ourselves. Observation begins with listening. When we remain silent, we create space to really hear what others are saying, not just with their words, but with their tone, body language, and expressions. Often the true meaning of a conversation lies beneath the surface of the words spoken. In silence, we can pick up on these subtleties, gaining a fuller picture of what's being communicated. For instance, in a meeting or discussion, silence can allow you to sense the underlying emotions, the concerns people may not be expressing directly, and the motivations behind their words. This heightened awareness gives you the opportunity to respond in a way that's informed and thoughtful, rather than simply reacting on impulse. Silence allows us to step back and see the bigger picture. When we're not rushing to respond or add our voice to the conversation, we can gain perspective. We can observe the dynamics around us, understanding the roles different people play, their patterns of behavior, and how certain situations unfold. This bigger picture thinking can be invaluable, especially in complex situations where it's easy to get caught up in details or become overwhelmed. By observing, we learn how to navigate challenges with a clear mind and strategic approach. We become better problem solvers because we've taken the time to understand the full scope of the situation. Observation also gives us insight into human nature, which is an incredibly valuable skill. When we're silent, we can observe people's behavior, noticing patterns that reveal their character, strengths, and weaknesses. For example, you might notice that a colleague always downplays others' ideas, or that a friend tends to be supportive only when things are going well. These observations gathered over time can help us make better decisions about whom we choose to trust, work with, or rely on. We can also learn about our own habits and tendencies through observation, seeing patterns in our reactions, triggers, and strengths. This self-awareness is essential for personal growth and helps us build healthier relationships with others. The power of observation extends to decision-making as well. When we take a step back to observe before making a choice, we reduce the likelihood of impulsive or emotional decisions. We're able to weigh our options, consider different outcomes, and choose the path that aligns best with our goals and values. Silence gives us the time and mental space to reflect on our choices, ensuring that our actions are aligned with our long-term vision rather than short-term impulses. Observing our environment, our options, and even ourselves leads to wiser, more grounded decisions. Furthermore, observation builds patience and resilience. By staying silent and observing, we're practicing patience, allowing things to unfold without feeling the need to control or dictate every outcome. This patience builds resilience, as we learn that not every situation requires our input or reaction. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is wait to let things settle and to act only when we have the necessary understanding. This approach helps us stay calm and composed even in challenging situations. Rather than being swayed by emotions or stress, we're grounded in our observations and our understanding of the situation. Observation also fosters empathy. When we're silent and attentive, we're better able to understand others' perspectives, to see the world through their eyes. This empathy allows us to connect on a deeper level, building stronger, more meaningful relationships. By observing, we're saying, I'm here to understand, not to judge. This attitude opens doors to greater compassion, understanding, and connection with others. In essence, silence and observation empower us to act with wisdom rather than impulse. They give us an edge in understanding the world around us and equip us with the insight needed to make sound, impactful decisions. Instead of being driven by emotions or circumstances, we're guided by knowledge and awareness. This calm, observant approach creates a sense of presence that people notice. It's a quality that commands respect, not because we're loud or forceful, but because we're thoughtful and discerning. Embracing the power of observation is like gaining a superpower in today's fast-paced, reaction-driven world. It allows us to see what others miss, to understand where others guess, and to act with precision where others act on impulse. By observing, we tap into a strength that's quiet but profound, a strength that allows us to navigate life with insight, clarity, and confidence. So let your silence sharpen your observation, and let your observation guide your actions. Through this approach, you'll find yourself living a life of greater depth, understanding, and purpose. Restraint is a trait often overlooked in a world where expression is constant and encouraged. Yet the strength of restraint, knowing when to hold back, when not to react, and when to let go, can be one of the most powerful choices you make. Restraint is not about weakness or passivity. It's about self-control, discipline, and the wisdom to understand that not everything demands your attention or reaction. In many situations, silence can be your greatest ally, allowing you to navigate challenges with grace and focus. The first aspect of restraint lies in understanding that immediate reactions aren't always necessary. When we're quick to respond to every slight disagreement or criticism, we give away our power. We let others dictate our emotions, pulling us into conflicts or negativity that don't serve us. Restraint, however, gives us the power to choose. We decide which battles are worth fighting and which can be ignored. This choice empowers us because we're no longer at the mercy of outside influences. We're in control of our own response. By holding back and taking a moment to assess the situation, we can make more thoughtful decisions that reflect our true values and intentions rather than simply reacting on impulse. Restraint also involves an element of patience. Often when we want to prove a point, defend ourselves, or make a statement, we feel an urgency to do so right away. But patience reminds us that not everything needs to be resolved in an instant. Sometimes the best way to handle a situation is to give it time, to let emotions settle, and to see how things unfold before taking action. This patience is a powerful form of self-discipline, requiring us to trust that the right course of action will reveal itself in time. By exercising patience, we're not only keeping our peace, but also demonstrating a profound level of maturity. In relationships, the strength of restraint is essential. Sometimes conflicts or misunderstandings arise that could easily spiral out of control if both parties react without thinking. In these moments, restraint can prevent unnecessary harm. By choosing silence over confrontation, or by responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively, we create space for understanding and resolution. This doesn't mean that we ignore issues or avoid necessary conversations, but rather that we approach them with a calm mind and an open heart. Restraint enables us to prioritize the health of our relationships over the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. Practicing restraint also protects your inner peace. When we constantly engage with every issue or react to every provocation, we drain ourselves emotionally and mentally. Restraint, on the other hand, allows us to conserve our energy for the things that truly matter. When we hold back from reacting to negativity, criticism, or drama, we're creating a boundary that protects our peace. We're choosing not to let external events disrupt our focus or pull us away from our goals. This boundary acts as a shield, enabling us to remain centered and grounded, regardless of the chaos that may be happening around us. There's a powerful wisdom in restraint that others will notice and respect. When you're known as someone who doesn't react impulsively, who takes the time to think things through, people will come to see you as a source of stability. They'll recognize that you're not easily swayed by emotions or external pressures, and this will earn their trust and respect. This level-headedness makes you a person others can rely on, knowing that you'll handle situations thoughtfully and with composure. Restraint becomes a form of quiet strength that speaks volumes without the need for words. Restraint also allows us to focus on long-term goals rather than short-term emotions. When we hold back from reacting to every frustration or challenge, we can channel that energy into pursuits that matter to us. Instead of getting caught up in daily distractions, we remain focused on our path, steadily moving forward without being derailed by temporary setbacks. This commitment to long-term thinking is what often sets successful people apart. They're able to look past the immediate and focus on the bigger picture, understanding that not every issue requires their time or attention. Restraint can also cultivate humility. When we choose not to react when we hold back, even though we could easily respond, we're practicing humility. We're showing that we don't need to prove ourselves to others, that we're confident enough in who we are to let our actions and choices speak for us. This humility isn't about ignoring injustices or staying silent when we should speak up, but about picking our battles wisely. It's about recognizing that our worth isn't defined by others' opinions or by how often we assert ourselves. Restraint helps us to practice self-compassion. When we hold back from reacting, we're giving ourselves the gift of peace and clarity. We're allowing ourselves the time and space to process emotions without the added stress of immediate reaction. In this way, restraint is a form of self-care, a way to prioritize our own mental and emotional well-being. In essence, restraint is not about suppressing who we are, but about elevating our responses to a place of wisdom and control. It's about knowing that not every situation requires our energy, and that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is nothing at all. By practicing restraint, we learn to navigate life with a calm confidence, grounded in the knowledge that true strength lies not in constant reaction, but in the ability to choose silence and patience when needed. In the constant noise of the world, silence is often undervalued. Yet choosing silence is a powerful tool for inner growth, self-awareness, and mental clarity. While the world pushes us to keep moving, keep talking, and keep proving ourselves, silence gives us the rare opportunity to pause and listen not to the voices around us, but to our own. Silence allows us to create a space where we can reflect, gain insight, and understand ourselves on a deeper level. It's in this quiet that true inner growth occurs. One of the most significant benefits of silence is that it opens a path to self-reflection. In silence, we can look inward without distractions or outside influences clouding our thoughts. We have the freedom to examine our actions, choices, and motivations. Are we making decisions that align with our values? Are we pursuing goals that truly fulfill us? Or are we chasing what others expect of us? These are the types of questions that silence allows us to explore. By taking the time to reflect, we gain a clearer sense of who we are and what we want out of life. Silence also enables us to confront our thoughts and emotions without judgment. In the rush of everyday life, we often suppress or ignore our feelings, pushing them aside to focus on external demands. However, in silence, those thoughts and emotions have a chance to surface. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary for inner growth. By allowing ourselves to sit with our emotions, we can process them fully and understand their origins. Silence lets us explore our fears, desires, regrets, and hopes. We learn not only what we feel, but why we feel it. This understanding fosters self-compassion and acceptance, helping us to grow and move forward with a lighter heart. Moreover, silence sharpens our intuition. When we're constantly bombarded with opinions, expectations, and distractions, it's easy to lose sight of our inner voice, the quiet, guiding sense within us that knows what's right for us. This inner voice, our intuition, is often drowned out by the noise of the world, but in silence, we give it room to speak. Intuition is that subtle feeling we get when something feels right or wrong, even if we can't explain why. It's an instinctive knowledge that often leads us to wise decisions and helps us avoid unnecessary mistakes. By choosing silence, we create a stronger connection with this intuition, trusting ourselves more deeply and becoming more confident in our choices. Silence as a tool for growth also helps us develop patience. In our fast-paced world, patience is a rare quality. We're accustomed to instant gratification, to immediate answers and quick results. But true growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual, steady process that requires time and dedication. When we embrace silence, we learn to slow down, to let go of the urge for instant progress, and to allow ourselves to grow at our own pace. Patience teaches us to respect the process, to understand that every step we take, no matter how small, brings us closer to our goals. Through silence, we learn to trust in the timing of our lives, becoming less anxious about the future and more grounded in the present. Another aspect of